Alright, wrong turn.
2003.
In-depth discussion. We're gonna break it down scene by scene. Go through the whole movie.
This came out right in the beginning of that horror boom in 03. Movies like this,
And also
The
Texas
Ring,
Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, Freddy vs. Jason. All those movies came out in 03. Alright, let's just jump right into it.
Alright, scene 1.
It starts off, it shows us the Summit Entertainment logo, and you're like, what is this, Twilight?
You're like, what is this, Twilight or something?
It was like before they even got big.
And
Before they were an official production company.
So then it cuts to like.
So then
trees.
it pans over the West Virginia forest.
It's awesome.
It's
with all the
supposed to be the
pine
West
trees.
Virginia forest, even though it's Canada. Ontario.
Who knows? Could be California.
No, I checked the Wikipedia. It's definitely Canuck land.
It's definitely Canuckland. Alright, let's go.
Then it's
So it
the
cuts to
opening scene, as we know.
It cuts to the mountain climbers on the side of the mountain. It's like a couple.
Yeah, it's a couple climbing the mountain.
And the boyfriend makes it to the top first.
And it's just a bunch of stupid lines. Actually,
I don't even
remember that they are.
What do you mean? They're just like, oh, she's like, wait for me. I need help. She's like, oh,
He makes
help
it
me
all the
up.
way to the top, and
he's
it's
like,
like your
"Oh."
gym teacher.
He's like, you gotta see it, baby. Come on. And then he walks away, and then she's like, oh, hey, come on.
They don't even show his death. He gets killed,
And then
body thrown over.
he gets
then
cracked on the dome.
And it just shows the girl, like, suspense parts.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like filler. She's like trying to grab the rope.
Before
She's
they
like,
throw
oh.
his body down. So then they throw his body over the side, and she's
So his
like,
body's
ah.
thrown down, and then out of nowhere, she like unclips or something. You know, then it shows she just falls down. And,
I
like,
think the they
mutant
cut his rope.
Mutant cut her rope. Yeah, all right. So then
Cut
she
her
falls
rope, and
down,
she falls down.
right next to the husband's body, and she's looking at him, and it's like, oh, what is this, a horror movie?
And then she goes to run away and trips over the barbed wire and gets her throat slit. And then it's just like, wrong turn. And then it plays like, then it does the credits, and it introduces you to the story of the movie, where it's like the newspaper clippings.
It's pretty tight because before that, does another cut shot to the trees, and it's pretty dope.
And then in the newspaper clippings, it's just like,
It's just like girl missing, and there'll
inbred mutants.
and there'll be a different like part of the newspaper, and they'll be like
It's
missing,
X-Men.
and it'll be like missing girl,
I know.
girl missing, and there'll be a different newspaper, different day, missing girl.
They don't even follow up on that missing girl, do they? They
Well,
just
they're
introduce
just-
us to a whole...
They're just saying that, you know, people are getting missing around that area. They're just getting eaten up.
A
you know?
lost girl that's gone missing.
Oh, I never heard
missing
that.
leg
I
is-
never heard that before.
Gone missing. Like
Hold on,
Planet
a
Terror
missing
style.
leg, Planet Terror style. All right, let's
And
see.
then it cuts to some guy in his '64 Mustang,
Oh, yeah,
like
drinking
boozing
a
and
beer.
cruising.
He's totally back road in Virginia, like.
And it's like playing some stupid
Cracking open
like soft
beers.
rock song.
And he's like, oh man, I'm not gonna
Some
make it to my
cheap
meeting.
Song.
So then he comes up behind like a road stop, 2 semis and backed up cars.
So he's on a main highway, and then you see a backup. And then so he's fully feeling his buzz from the beer, so he gets
So
out
he's
of
like,
his
I'm gonna
car.
get out and walk up here and ask somebody what's
Hold
this
up,
all
so he's
about.
driving his '64 Mustang. You know those people who like take out their hot rods or their Harleys on the
Yeah,
weekend?
too bad the only
That's
people
totally
that would
him.
ever have an 84 or 64 Mustang would be like your freaking uncle. Who's like,
Every time you look at those guys
on
driving
the
those
verge
old
of
hot
dying.
rods, it's like some like 60-year-old guy with gray hair and sunglasses. Alright, go. So then he gets out of the car, and he's just like, oh, what's the holdup? To like the semi-truck driver.
semi-truck driver.
He
like,
says
oh.
something hilarious
he's
to
like-
him. I don't even remember what he says.
No, he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's like a chemical spill or an oil spill or something. You clean it up, a couple hours it'll take. And then he's like, well, is there no way around? He's like, yeah, here's what you do. You go back to your car and you fix your hair a couple more times. It's like one of the funniest, like the only funny line in the whole movie. So then he goes back to his car.
No, so he's like, alright, I gotta make it to Raleigh, North Carolina by 7 p.m. for a job interview. So he decides to back road without
So
a
he's
map.
Like, alright, I'll turn around and try and find the phone or something. Because his phone, he tries to call the place to like say that he's going to be early, or that he's going to be late. And they're like, yeah.
It shows him with
it,
his
like,
cell
totally
phone
cuts
for
off.
the brief moment. But
and it
like,
goes out of order.
but 03, that was when only like about 70% of the people or 60% of the people had cell phones. Not everyone had cell phones.
Yeah, now you're freaking.
So then
now all the 5th graders in your freaking town got cell phones.
Yeah, by 04, everyone who was 16 had a cell phone. By 07, everyone who was like 13 had a cell phone. And nowadays, there's like
Now by
4-year-olds that have.
By 08, all the 8-year-olds had a cell phone.
By 2011, now like toddlers have a cell phone.
Pretty much. Alright, let's see.
So then he stops at the cliche horror rundown gas station.
And it's like freaking Texas Chainsaw.
Like it's Friday the 13th or something.
Like with the nasty beef shit. Alright, going.
And it's got the token old guy.
It's got the token
who's
inbred
been
mutant.
like
He's
dipping since 1962.
Who's been inbreeding since Stockbridge first established its town. Alright, go. Alright, then he's talking to him like, hey, can I get a phone? And he's like, yeah, there's a phone inside.
And he sees the map as a short.
And he goes in, phone doesn't work. It's his only phone, blah blah. He sees the map and he's like,
oh, I see a shortcut. I'll
like,
just go through these back roads.
He's like,
and,
does this the Bernie Mac Drive? He's like, hey, does that lead to next to the highway? And he's like, if you say so. And he's like, alright, well, whatever.
So he starts driving on the back roads, and he's
And
like,
then
I'll go this way.
And then he comes to a fork in the road, and like the freaking
And it's just like, do you want to go to Bareback Mountain or
It's
Bare
like-
Ass Mountain?
It's like, you want to go to... It's like, do you want Bernie Mac Drive or do you want Bare Ass Drive? And he's like, I'll take Bare Ass because it's in the
So
script.
he goes off to a more secluded road. So it gives you that feel of seclusion, jacked it from Texas Chainsaw.
Because it's in the script. Alright,
So he's driving off this side
but
back
this
road.
is when it cuts to like some more beautiful
Awesome
shots.
wood
beautiful
shots, yeah.
And
then out
he's
of
listening-
nowhere-
he's listening to the radio too. When he's on the way to right there, and it's the freaking news report of like, you know, the missing bodies and whatnot, and then he just cuts it to like his 8-track. He cuts it to his 8-track and then he drops a CD.
So then out of nowhere, he's driving, then he hits the back of this Jeep with like bikes on it,
And
which
it's
is parked
like,
in the
this is
middle
when
of
we
the
get
road.
introduced to like what
They totally
3,
fucked
4,
up the 64 Mustang.
the 4 20-year-old characters, and they're like, "Hey, dude, calm down. You're like in a state of shock or something."
And the bitch is like, yeah, you're gonna pay for it. And he's like, I'm gonna pay for it.
And he's
blah,
like,
blah,
"Hey,
blah.
calm down. He just said he's gonna pay for it." And then the guy's like, "Oh yeah, and my bike's a little jacked up too. Can you pay,
So
can
they're
you pay
like-
for that?"
They're like, oh, I'm gonna go and get help. None of the 5 people there have a cell phone, even though in 03, one of
I
them would have had
know
a
it's
cell phone.
03 and it's totally the wrong turn set. I'm sure some of the grips had a cell phone or something. All right.
So they're like, let's separate and go looking for
I
a
know,
phone.
but
Let's
then
go back
Herbie-
to that gas station.
Herbie and Tanya, the chick and the guy, stay at the freaking car. And
Who's the
lights-
cast? It's
he,
the
like,
token of freaking
It's
2
to-
couples, and then the 5th wheel is Alicia Douchebag. I don't
Oh,
even know
yeah.
how to pronounce her name.
No, it's Alicia.
03.
It's Alicia Douchebag.
03, smoking hot.
That's how you pronounce it. Okay.
And she's
So
a
then-
total hard ass.
So they totally agree. Like he's like, "Hey, you know where phone is?" You know, and then freaking the guy's like, "I don't know. There's not phone." that
They're
works,
like, let's
but-
go, let's
But
separate.
we can still go somewhere.
So they leave the 2, like, the secondary couple back at the freaking.
At the freaking car, and Herbie, the one that the guy lights up a J, and he's like, "Yeah, it's marijuana." Freaking, and he smoked with his
And
girlfriend
he's smoking a tobacco roll like Jay.
on the set. And then so freaking, they're all walking away, and they're like talking. It's totally filler lines at this.
And then they
part.
stop at a dead squirrel for no reason.
Oh yeah, they stop at a dead squirrel.
With
and
like
they all
flies
stop,
going over it.
they're all
The
looking
thing's
at
got
it.
like rabies or something.
And like freaking the executive guy's like, "Yeah, that's a minx. I'm pretty sure
they're
it's a
like,
minx."
no.
And they're
it's
like, "Nah,
fucking
man, it's a
prairie
squirrel,
dog.
man. It's bird." No. And
That's
then,
total
and
stupid.
then it's total filler line. It's just total stupid. And you're like, "Man, is this a movie?" All right.
Most of the time, if they do roadkill, it'll just be like a pan of the roadkill. They don't stop and hover over it with the actors
No,
and talk
also,
about
and then after that, it shows the prop deer.
it. A prop deer.
No, that's the prop deal before he crashes right into him.
Some
When he
more
drops the
roadkill.
CDs. But anyways.
Yeah, they showed that earlier.
So then it shows the barbed wire. Oh no, and we didn't mention the barbed wire where the chick's like, "Hey, someone intentionally put this barbed wire up," and then it shows the grips like.
Yeah,
it
they
shows-
were stranded
it
because they
cuts-
ran over the token
Yeah,
barbed
it cuts
wire
the freaking
from the mutants.
It cuts
that
to
they
the
set
tire
up.
of their on their car, and it's like the grips wrap the barbed wire on hardcore around it, and you're like, "Wow, total Hollywood."
Oh, then here's another random part. They see a random campfire while they're walking on this dirt road. Also,
Oh, yeah, and they're like,
They're
"Hello,
like, eh.
hello."
Then they just don't
So-
even go to put it out or anything.
So BJ sees the fire and he's like, "Hello." So and then he's like, "Somebody started it. Somebody's got to be around." And they're like, "All right, whatever."
Then it cuts back to the couple that's staying at the Jeep in the accident site, and
Oh
they're
yeah,
like,
so they finished the
and
J.
then the redhead
And the
slut.
redhead.
you know how like there's always your group of friends, and there's like the redhead bitch who's a total slut,
In high school.
and so she gives him a BJ, and it's like the guy who and it's like the kid who played like the main character in the Air Bud movies in the '90s.
Alright, so she gives Herbie a BJ.
and he like looks like Zac Efron or something.
And then it cuts to them guys back walking.
No, and then she starts, the redhead, after she gives him a BJ, starts going through the other guy's freaking 64 Mustang and like steals his last Marlboro Light, his Lucky.
And then it cuts back to them walking, and then goes to BJ, and then he's just like, loses everyone around him. He's like, "Huh? Hello, baby." And then freaking, they're like, wondering. He's wondering where everyone is. The guy that crashed into
It's a
him,
bunch
the
of
two chicks.
whack random writer's choice
It's a whole
dialogue.
bunch of filler lines during this.
Even more.
Scene of jumping back to them at the crash, the other couple, and then crashing back, cutting back to them. Walking, and then but anyways, they finally...
And you're like, I wonder who's gonna get killed, the main cast or the one that was already separated at the drive site? Oh, let me think.
So then,
So then the redhead, loses, the kid who was next she was with there. She finds his ear, which is a total, prop blooding, soaked in, corn syrup,
it's
blood.
pretty tight, though.
You know when they make the corn syrup blood, and it's
Evan.
it's either good corn syrup, it's either bright red or perfect colored dark red. This one was bright red and whack.
Yeah, the grips need to freaking amp it up.
Yeah.
Alright, so then it cuts back to them, and they come up on the house, and they're like...
No, she gets strangled by barbed wire after she sees the ear.
she sees the ear, and then freaking the mutant comes up behind her, and he freaking wraps the barbed wire around her mouth, and pulls her, and cuts her, and it's like, wow. It's pretty dope. I mean, good. There's some good kills in this.
Alright, go to part 2 of our
Alright,
Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn 2003.
In-depth discussion.